Okay, so I'm just going to quickly talk you through one of the effects or techniques or fixes that I came across quite a lot last year when I was looking at people's work, was that some of the photography that students take and use sometimes have more complex backgrounds. There's hair in places sticking out, and it's quite frizzy, and it can be difficult to extract a background from. The background's very busy. It's difficult to for Photoshop to use the quick selection tool to get those bits. But luckily this year we are using a more advanced version of Photoshop, so the quick selection tool is better than it ever has been. In the past it was quite a difficult tool to use and it wasn't perfect, but it's a lot better now. Okay, but I'm going to quickly just show you this technique using this particular image here. Now, this is 11 from Stranger Things. If you've not seen Stranger Things, you should definitely go and watch it. It's fantastic. But the background's a little bit more complex than the one we were using with Prince, which was taken at a professional photo shoot. This is a still from a TV show, so it's a little bit more difficult to extract a background from. Okay, because it's more complex. You can see there's trees, roads, and the colours are different. So, but quick selection tool still solves a lot of those problems by going over and selecting what we want from that image. Now again, doesn't have to be perfect, but you probably want to go around and just use the technique from before by alternating, holding Alt and deselecting and selecting areas you want. Again, this isn't the most complex image in the world to extract, but it will show you how to deal with an image that does have a complex background and doesn't look great once you refine the edge. Okay, and again, what you've got here is these areas here that haven't been picked up. So I'm going to just make that a little bit smaller, and then I'm going to just hold Alt, and I'm going to subtract this area in the middle. Now as you can see, it started selecting a little bit of 11's jacket and dress here, so I'm just going to make sure we can add that in, and this is where it gets a little bit more specific. And I suppose the more specific you can be, the easier it's going to be for you when you refine the edge. So again, just extract that by holding Alt and just subtract that from what we want. I'll just go up the side here. There's a little bit of a road here that we don't really want. That. Okay, and that goes nicely. See, we've not got our ear here. Let's just make sure we get that. There we go. There's a bit of tree in here that, again, Photoshop's struggling to identify unless you do it specifically. Now between the green of the trees and the brown of 11's hair. But again, we're not far away there. That's quite a decent selection. So I am now going to head over to Refine Edge. Now if we look at this, first off, it looks a little bit jagged. You can spend as much time as you want within the Refine Edge panel here looking at how you're going to make this a cleaner, more professional cut. Okay, so I'm just going to turn that on, and I'm just going to have a moment of just experimenting with these different elements. Just using the sliders to gauge where we're at. Smooth's quite nice there. Again, feather kind of gives you like a glowing effect. If you pull it all the way out, you can see a lot of the background there. It's not really what we want to see. So I'm not using feather. Contrast makes it a little bit sharp around the edge. Shift edge takes away some of that background. So you've got to play with those. And that looks quite nice, I think. Just there, I think that we've subtracted that quite nicely. We've done a good job there. I'm going to hit OK, sending it to a new layer with layer mask. And there we go. Okay, let's bring another image to that background. Let's bring that purple colour again. Let's just Command T that, make it bigger, drag it back under. So we've extracted that image successfully. But what we can do, and this is where the little tip comes in, it used to be a lot more beneficial on the older versions of Photoshop, but what you could do here now is just refine that even further by going over and getting your eraser tool. Now I'm not saying go and rub out bits of the background and bits of the head. If you click on that tail, we don't want to do that. But what we want to do is, if we zoom in nice and close here, we can see what Photoshop works with pixels as opposed to Illustrator that works with vector images. Now if we've zoomed in very close here, these pixels fade out into the background because that's where we've cut our background. Okay. Now what we can do here is change this fade and our cut. So if we've got our eraser tool here, we just need to make sure that it's the size we want it to be, but the hardness is at 0%. That's where we need the eraser to be at, because if we do that, it's gonna be very harsh. It's gonna take it quite harshly. And then it's not gonna look professional. Okay. So let me just get rid of those. So we want the hardness down at 0, and this will give us like a nice blur or gradient to our erasing. So you can see here, you can just make your image a lot smoother by just taking off them harsh edges all around the top. This is time consuming, but what it does is just that extra bit of it's quite fiddly as well. Remember your keyboard shortcuts. Control Alt Z to go back, undo, and then Control Shift Z to redo or go forward. Again, this image doesn't need too much work, but you can see here that black shadow just goes a little bit further in this area. So I'm just getting rid of those dark edges, and when you zoom back out, you won't be able to see these at all. You can see around the hairline here, I'm just going to get rid of those harsh edges. Again, if you do go wrong, you can just hit Command or Control Alt Z to take you back. So you've just got the very edge of the collar here. That kind of goes into the background that we've removed. We're very close here, so we can just take away that edge. So it's a lot smoother. You don't have to zoom in this much all the time. You can zoom out a little bit. You might have a specific area that just needs addressing. So I've zoomed out there and just edited a little bit. What that gives you is a much smoother outline here, as you can see around the head. We've just neatened that up, and you can do the same to whichever problem bits you have on your particular image. Maybe you've taken your photography and you've realised there's something in the background, and you're just going to put it on a new background. This is a good technique to address that with. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that technique.